Okay, so in the past couple of weeks, I've had a lot of people kind of come up to me and go, "Oh, I miss your legacy project videos. You haven't done any of them lately." And it's been about 2 years, and there's a reason for it. When I started the legacy project, I actually started it whenever Xavier was about like 6 months to a year, and it was more the idea like, okay, I need to think about what I need to instill into my son to make him to guide him to be a better man, to be a better man than I ever was. Um, and with that, certain programs we were part of whenever he lived with me, and everything else. Well, whenever he lived with me and his mother, you know, we were just really involved in his development tremendously. Um, However, since the incident of 2014, things obviously changed. Um, and whenever I started the recovery of the incident of 2014, um, the idea of the legacy project changed. The fear of me not being part of his life, and what would I leave behind for him, rather than like just what would happen if I wasn't around, for whatever the reason. So I made the videos to more or less give him lessons or things I thought that were important for him to know. Obviously, not anything dealing with me and his mother, but more things dealing with um, how I feel that you should be growing up, things that you should know, like not to worry about freezing up in situations, to always just try to be able to act or to be aware of other people's actions, because sometimes other people's actions can also affect you. And obviously, the fact that I love him tremendously. Um, Shortly, maybe about a year or two after that, I actually got the opportunity to see him on video since he lived so far away. We did video sessions rather than having to worrying about the logistics of travel. Um, so my plan was for the legacy project at that time was that in 4 stages I would actually get to have him with me, not all the time, but like more of an actual shared custody environment. Um, the first stage was going to be where we were, the video visitations. Second and third was going to be more getting him used to seeing me more often, and then the fourth stage would be the overnight stays, the weekend stays, the week long stays, the seasonal stages, hopefully. um, However, I started that phase of the legacy project 2 years ago. What had happened shortly after that is that there were certain things that Xavier's mother wanted to happen, and it just took a while for things to kind of like get on even ground between me and her. When, I'm not saying that it was her fault, not saying that it was my fault. It was just we had to find ways to make things work. She was moving, and with him being in school, I didn't want the move to be right on top of the meeting me face to face for the first time after a long time. However, I did not plan for it to be a 2 year wait. So this year, I actually had a conversation with her, and she had some guidelines about things that she wanted to have in place and things that she didn't really care for. And in the past 3 to 4 months, now five, I have been talking with people, talking to agencies about resources. Um, and we finally came down to an agency that is willing to do everything that is needed and is able to be very flexible with the very unique situation that we have. Um, However, there is a small little snag. His mom wants it more or less to be court ordered, so that happens to be a process within itself that takes time. Um, with that being said, the legacy project is obviously still in effect because it is Xavier. That will never stop. That would always be something that is always going to happen. Right now, obviously, working on establishing a safe, healthy, interesting, and fun environment for him to be able to, for me and him to interact better. And I'm looking forward to whenever. I'm hoping that actually starts before the end of the year. But however, the legacy project has also evolved beyond that. I want to also make my living environment better. I want to live in a different place. I live in a place that's a little bit more. more me and Xavier friendly. Not saying that where I live at isn't, but I want something a little bit more like just me and him, you know. And that's me and him whenever me and him get there. Um, so I'm working on that right now. I got a bunch of things that I have set up for him. I have his bed already. Yeah, I got a bunch of toys for him to play with. Right now we're working on finding the right location that is, like I said before, safe, educational, sparks his interest, but it also has to be able to fit my own needs where it comes to work, resources in the community that I utilize, things like that. So, but the face-to-face thing, I'm hoping to have that started by before the end of this year, and I'm hoping that by 2020, the overnight stays will be an actual thing. Um, Once again, there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of documentations. There's a lot of things making sure that everybody's on the same page, and that does take time. But understand, please, the Legacy Project is not over. It will never be over as long as my son is alive. As long as I breathe, I will always put energy into the Legacy Project. So understand that, that's the update there. Right now, um, I am trying to work with a particular specialist to be able to work with me on how to better our me and Xavier's relationship. I am also taking parenting classes, which is like the third one. I took two fatherhood programs prior. I took one parenting program and one fatherhood program prior to the incident, and I was part of another fatherhood program after the incident, and I am currently now in a completely different parenting program, and I'm only learning good things. If you guys see my video, obviously you see that I'm struggling a little bit, but it is still making advancements in that area. So I am very proud about that. Um, I still have to work with the courts, be able to make it a court order. Shouldn't be too hard, but is mostly just like, fill out the paperwork and then wait for it. So yeah, there's a lot of things happening. A lot of things are going to happen, and if I remember the specialist's words to me, she said things are going to happen quickly. Whenever they start, it's going to be like a rolling snowball. It's just going to collect momentum, collect mass and speed, and it's going to happen. So look out in the future, especially in the next couple of months. Things are definitely going to happen when it comes to the Legacy Project. Until then, understand, it's never going to end. My pursuit for my son to be a better person than I ever was will always be a thing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys around. See you when I see you.